All right, everybody, it is time for episode number 18 of Changemakers. We've got some really great guests this week. They've become friends of mine, colleagues, peers, however you want to look at it. They're part of the Breakthrough Accelerator. It's for people that are looking into the world of business through a different lens, through people that are trying to actually change the world and actually have a business that makes money as well. It's going to be a very, very good episode, very fun episode. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So start sharing it out now. Changemakers will begin in just under a minute. Again, share this with your friends. This is a non-political show. This is talking about people that are creating change in the world and being a part of the solution and being a part of the answer in order to make the world a better place. So Changemakers with the Breakthrough Accelerator starting in just about 30 seconds. What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys for joining us for Changemakers. As you can see, still not in my typical grounds and typical place to have an episode because of the great ice storm and freeze of Texas. So we're going to do it from here. So I apologize. I'm sure I probably look a little bit pixelated right now, and I do apologize for that. But we're going to have a really good show today. We're excited about Changemakers. You've seen a lot of different people on this. We've had American Ninja Warriors. We've had Daryl Davis. We've had double amputees. We've had all different people that all have the same mentality and the same concept in just different ways, which is trying to find a way to create positive change in the world around us. So do us a favor, share this episode out, share what we got going on. We've got a group that I work with personally with BeTheChange. BeTheChange is a for-profit entity that is trying to create positive change in the world. And I got involved in something called the Breakthrough Accelerator, which we'll talk a little bit more once we bring the guests on. For those of you that I know are going to start asking how Cash is doing, I'm hopefully going to be speaking to him later today. Aside from that, we're going to go ahead and put the basics up on the screen. If you want to support us, as you guys know, we're trying to avoid everything in terms of getting YouTube super chats, but all of our information is below. And if you want some extras, some motivational Mondays that I like to do, or getting over the hump Wednesdays sometimes, or a little bit more specific information regarding the things going on in the world of BeTheChange, make sure you join our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/BeTheChange USA. So that'll be scrolling on the bottom. With that said, guys, looking forward to this episode. I'm going to introduce our guests. Very excited to have them on the screen with me, the Breakthrough Accelerator group, and I'm going to bring them up now. We've got Brad Taleppo and Allison Cheney.
Hello.
Hello, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, Brad, I'm going to start with you because this actually you're the person I first met before you and Allison kind of got together with Breakthrough Accelerator. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you got to where you are today.
Got it. Thanks for having us, Anthony. I appreciate it. My background comes from being raised in Michigan, and it was about in like fifth grade. I started questioning so much about like society. I was like, why am I here to do so much schoolwork and to be in this box and having all these good grades to finally go to this school to get this education to work for like Monday to Friday and to be in like this 9-to-5 thing. And I'm like, why does society do this stuff? And if I have to wait to retire until I'm 63, my 12-year-old brain was like, won't I be dead by then? Like, when will I actually have time to enjoy it? But I had the blessing of being raised with a really loving, healthy family. But when I graduated college, I had an accounting degree, and I just knew I didn't want to go work for any of the firms. I just knew that wearing a tie wasn't me. I knew that going to count beans for the first couple of years wasn't me. So I got in my 4Runner, grabbed my German Shepherd, and I ended up in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, where snowboarded and worked construction, just trying to start something on the side, anything to have that freedom. And I was blessed to have a dad that really showed me the way through hard work and responsibility, that by being there for like my mom and his kids all together, he's like, really know entrepreneurship and try to figure it out someday. But I always knew there was a different path. And I also believe that business is here for more than just financials itself. Like it's here for the employees, it's here for humanity, and it's here for the planet. And I don't think we get taught that. Like we do, but I think there's critical missing elements on how we get to learn entrepreneurship and money and actually be making a positive impact in the world. So that's been my gift of like bringing this together with Allison. And I really followed her because when I got to meet her a couple years ago in a leadership academy, she's like, what I care for, number one, is social impact. And I'm like, that's a leader that I can follow. And like with you, Anthony, it's who are the leaders that we can follow? And if I think my number one of top 3 values is open-mindedness. And I think there's a clear line between really like speaking your voice and knowing what you stand for and still being loving, having unconditional love. And I think there's so much divisiveness that's happening in the world, whether if it's, political or masks or what we stand for. And like, there's a self-righteousness. And I think it just keeps dividing us up. It's like they know how we're triggered in our brain and our psychoscience. And I just want to see us come back together. I believe that money's amazing in the right hands. And I believe if we can teach the entrepreneurship and the money for people who believe in the world as one and see it as one, that we can start to refunnel and create that change through those resources. So that's kind of where I'm at today.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's funny. We as people are either bred to love money or to hate money, when really there's this middle ground where really money does make a difference in the right hands. And a lot of people that have a uncomfortable relationship with money have been raised with that whole, like, money is the root of all evil, which is completely not the truth. Money can be evil, so can poverty. So it goes in that middle ground. So Allison, I want you to introduce yourself, and then we're going to talk a little bit more. I want people to understand kind of what we're going to get at today, and they're going to make some really cool offers as well. Part of what I got into with BeTheChange and with them was because they offer some free webinars that are phenomenal, that literally have more value than most of the stuff that you get if you're doing like the $49.99 stuff, all that stuff. They provide those free, not even a part of what I'm a part of with BeTheChange. So it's pretty cool stuff. But Allison, I want you to introduce yourself and we'll go from there. Allison, go ahead.
So thank you so much for having us, Anthony. I'm so excited about this conversation today. So I'm Allison Cheney, and if you're asking me like who I am, what I do, if I was going to check a box, I'm a digital marketer. I've been doing that my whole career. But when I first started, I think it was probably my first job, and like Brad, I was one of those people going, wait a second, this is it? I did not sign up for this. Like, no, this can't be it. I can't spend my whole life doing mostly stuff I hate, so that when I'm too old to enjoy it, I finally have a couple weeks, days, whatever left. Like, that seems like crap. So I was like, what else is there? And I always knew that there was more. And it's funny that you say, like, coming from that place of like money is the root of all evil. Like, oh my gosh, isn't that was my upbringing. My parents were school teachers. Money was like, what's that? Who has that? Like, what? That's other people. That wasn't us. Like, their purpose in life was serving others as teachers. And I loved and respected that. But in my upbringing, I felt like it was one or the other. You either got to be rich or you got to help people. And so I was like, fine, I'll help people and be poor. Whatever. Then I was like, nah, that kind of sucks. So I got to a point in my life, I was like, I think I want to start my own business. And about 10 years ago, I got this idea and I decided I was going to start my own business because I just didn't like where I was. And I felt like every time I would ask for something, I was being held back and told no. And I was like, well, I'm going to make my own rules. So I went and I did it. And that's when I met Candace, who is actually, Candace Sogren is actually another founder here, or actually one of the founders here at Breakthrough Accelerator. And I met her 10 years ago at a different accelerator she had here in Cincinnati. And that was the game changer. And it was because when I met this person, she looked at me and I didn't even know her yet. I really didn't know her. And she said, I believe in you. And I was like, what? Like, my mom always said that, but she's my mom. She has to, right? And I was like, where is this person coming from? Like she doesn't even know me. And she's like, she believes in me. But those words changed my whole life. And from that moment on, to this day, I still volunteer for that accelerator 10 years later, because I was like, I have to pay this forward. And no matter what I do in life, yes, I'm still a marketer, and that's really like my superpower in what I do. But what I really love is to help businesses grow. I just happen to know how to do it through marketing. But when I got into this accelerator world, I was like, wow, this is really cool. There's a lot of things I can do here. And someone believed in me. And how many people can I believe in and just cause the ripple? Like, let's see, like, it's like a game now. It's like playing a little game. How many people can I believe in? And then Candace came to me about a year ago, and she had this idea for this accelerator. And she said, you want to be CEO? And I was like, well, that's a hell yes. I mean, I couldn't even, I was like, let me think about it, trying to be all smart. I said yes before she was even done with the question, right? I knew that I was in for this. And I'm like, I've got another full-time job. I've got a full plate, and somehow I'm going to figure this out, because I cannot say no, because this is my calling. And I there's been so many times throughout this process where I've just been like, this is it. This is what I've been called to do. And that's what brought me here today.
That's awesome. Sorry, Brad, I muted you. I think there was just a little echo, so that's why I was muting when Allison was talking. But so what's cool about what you guys do, and it's funny, when I met Brad at something called Hive about a year and a half ago, and I remember it's been a change for me, because I've always started my own businesses. I've always either done well or failed, and then moved on and been able to go from there. But I've never actually looked for capital, and I didn't. I've talked about it. I've been able to speak on it, but I never actually had the experience. And you guys have provided that for me now, and to properly build a business and to have it where you are ready to ask people for capital and to get to that stage. And we have a guest on the show. Hello, Kitty.
Oh,
yeah, that's fun. Anyways, with that said, what you guys are doing is very important. And you guys, it's not just about business. It's interesting. Most of the groups, and this is Breakthrough Accelerator #1. This is the first part of it. So you've got a lot of transformational businesses and groups. You guys have a different language. At the end, you go, I am complete. And it's almost a spiritual way to look at business, and then at the same time find a way to get to the root of your personal issues so that you can actually have a successful business. So it's not only building a business, but it's building yourself to be ready. Doesn't matter what. If this isn't the business, out of the 20 groups that we have in this class, they're more equipped, whether it's this business or the next business, just based on the lessons that we've learned through you guys and through the speakers that you guys have brought in, which is kind of the core concept of when I accidentally said, all right, I'll sign up for this webinar. I saw Brad put a link in, and I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out. And it was Candace speaking, and she was brilliant. I go, this is one of the best hour webinars I have ever been a part of, and it was free. And then a week later, I signed up for Breakthrough Accelerator and got approved for it and all that stuff with you guys. But the core behind it was you guys were looking for businesses that were creating change in the world. So why is it that you guys have such an importance, and feel free, whoever wants to go first, in businesses that also create change?
I'll jump in on that one. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So, it's funny. It kind of goes to, well, first of all, it's sort of like, why wouldn't you? When you have a business, you have a certain level of power that you don't have as an individual. It's just, you have a little more of something, more visibility, more audience, more money sometimes, sometimes less. Depends on the business, right? We've all had successes and failures, but the idea is there's potential for more. And so I always felt like business was just like a vehicle for change. I just didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was a thing, or you could put words around it. And I had a digital marketing agency a few years ago. That was the business I started 10 years ago. And we eventually got B Corp certified. And what that means is it's a benefit corp, which basically we were a socially responsible company, and we went through a lot of work. It took us about a year and a half to get certified. But what that meant was we made a commitment to being socially responsible. And through that practice of becoming certified, I realized like every single business on the planet has the ability to be a socially responsible business, because it's not like, oh, I'm going to go and save the whales and the babies and the bees and the trees and the water. Like, come on, let's be realistic. Not one person or one entity can do it all. But each of us has our own certain little niche, our little superpower, whatever it is. And if each one of us can take our little part and do some good in that piece, then collectively it creates a better, community, world, planet, universe. And I was like, why doesn't every business do this? Right. And even to this day, I'm like, why isn't every business trying to get B Corp certified? This seems insane to me. And but the thing is, every business can be a force for change. And this whole accelerator was the opportunity for us to create that ecosystem that not only creates that mindset or supports the mindset that business is more than just me. I can make a huge impact and I can do something really significant in the world. It's more than just me, but it's the ripple I can create. But also it's like, looking at, it's just the whole idea of like what else we can do in the world and what we can represent. And it's literally like creating change. Like when we look around us, we see the way that things are and I don't like it. How am I going to change that? Right? Like I can vote. Okay, that's like one thing. But what can I do on a daily basis? It's my business. I can actually make an impact. And right. I can make other people pay attention or get them to pay attention and say, oh, wait, we can make an impact too. And everyone can have a purpose, big or small. So why not fuel that? So this was just the vehicle to make that happen. But it added a layer of emotional intelligence. Like you said, it's like we have our own language. It's sort of like this spiritual connection, but it really is just about like us as humans. Like business is still run by humans. So at the very core of every business is a human and a beating heart. Like you got to get in there. And if something's in the way, like if things aren't good at home, they're not good at the office, right? So we got to get out of our own way. And what better way to do it than just create an ecosystem and a container where we can get into it, get messy, get that stuff out of our way, and then go forward and be successful in our business and make an impact. And the only way we're going to do it, and the best way we're going to do it, is through the emotional intelligence, getting the tools to be successful and healthy and happy and balanced, and then just going forward. And this is why I love this conversation so much. It's literally being the change.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And this might end up, before I go to Brad, this might bounce right back on you because I know you mentored my buddy, my original buddy in the beginning, which is Michelle. Yeah. And it is kind of what you're saying. You're building people in this program, and this is the importance of what can happen in business is you're building the ability for people to have the emotional intelligence to realize no matter what business you do, you can actually change the world. I mean, one of the groups in there, one of the businesses is an excavator. Like, how can a land excavator change the world? What you change by a ripple effect, one person at a time. You find a way to make that work, and you find a way to correlate in business. And Michelle, with Vision Board Music, I don't think she's pitching Final Weekend, but from the first weekend, whether it's Vision Board Music or whether it's the next business that she does, she is a different human. She is and not saying she's bad in any way, shape, or form, but she's transformed herself. So when you learn how to operate in a business structure, and then at the same time learn how to be yourself in that business and realize the power that we all have to be the change we want to see in the world, you become an absolute force. And even when certain things fail, you still become an absolute force of nature to change the world. You just don't know when that right window is going to hit. And it will. Just you have to be patient, or it's going to be the right time in the right place. Brad, do you have a follow-up on that?
Well, I just wanted to speak into Michelle. And though at the end, we realized, and she realized that she's not ready to pitch the investors yet. The key answer is yet. But it's not where someone is, it's how far they've come. And I think you're going to lean into that, Anthony, where she was and where she is today in her business, in her ability to understand business ownership. And the conversation I had with her the other day, I'm like, Michelle, I'm waiting for you to give me a call to enroll me back into being ready with these investors because you're on fire. Like, you're on fire. And she was so almost in a darker place where people would give up. She's like, just broke up with my boyfriend. This apartment just moved out. I got to move here. I'm getting leveled by life. But you know what? I got this. And I'm just going to relate to this metaphor that I keep hearing in the accelerator and from investors is there's two things we're betting on. You're sitting in the stands, and in the race, there's the jockey and there's the horse, and the jockey's the person and the horse is the business. And if you can give us an A-level jockey with a B-level product, they don't know where they're going yet, we can do anything with them. If you give us an A-level business and a B-level jockey, you can't. So our goal is, who do we have who is so resilient and cares about the world? That's the people that we want. So even when we were qualifying people for the first round, like Anthony, you're with Hive, beautiful organization, went to their summit, like Ryan Alice, astonishing. Like I got to have time with Faith, astonishing people. To see who created that organization and how much they stand for change, it was easy to welcome you in. And like Allison and I talk about all the time, like we're really screening for who they are as a person underneath. And like going back to when I first kind of dove into this accelerator with Candace was about 2 years ago, where we sat in the ocean, by the ocean, at Ryan and Faith's place. And she's like, I have this vision. I need to talk to you about it. She's like, I'm going to start an emotional intelligence leadership academy. This is what we graduated from. But I also want to start an accelerator. And if we can find a way to be the waterfall effect, if we can be the river that leads to the falls of other rivers, that leads to other falls, then we can be that positive ripple effect of change in the world. And she goes, I know we can start the emotional intelligence because how important it is, the relationship with ourselves and others. And she goes, the next step is business. And she ran one of the most successful accelerators before. So it's right, go learn. Like, there's no way I could have done this on my own. No, I tried and it wasn't working because I don't like doing things alone. Then came Allison and Candace. Like, learn from people who have done what you want to do. And if you surround yourself with those successful people and they care, that will 10x your world and your business and your relationships beyond just going to learn from successful entrepreneurs. So to bring it all back, and here we're at now, like with the change, now there's an actual real world manifestation, first class, against COVID, against all odds. We went cash flow positive. I watched multiple companies come and go cash flow positive. It's like, but it's not just their financials that we're accelerating. How do we turn them into legacy CEO owners, be surrounded in an ecosystem that cares, like forever, and to move them forward? So there's a multiple components of what we want them coming out with. That's there. And it's the human component, because at the end of the day, the hardships that I've seen, especially with two of my closest friends, like I'm in Florida right now, I got on a plane, one-way ticket, just so I can be with them. And there's some tough times. And you know what? None of this matters. None of this matters except the people we love and the relationships and the impact that we can make, period.
Yeah. And that's, and as a group that does have a little bit of, we definitely have a basis in spirituality and the universe working on our behalf. It's interesting. And I'll kind of, there are some very polished business owners in our group. There are some newbies, like Michelle was a little bit of a newbie. And I remember the first week I've had successful businesses and kind of got a lot of people knew each other kind of in the groups, and everybody kind of got shuffled around. And Michelle was somebody I was like, well, she definitely was at the very beginning of her entrepreneurship journey. But again, at the exact same time, the universe does work. They put people together for a specific reason. And as you said, Michelle's been going through a tough time. That first weekend, most people don't know, she lost a very close family member. I lost my grandfather. Like, we were both on the train of, and these are very intensive weekends for people that are kind of wondering what I'm talking about. Like, it is 60 hours straight on of getting stuff together and shit's hitting the fan. I mean, it's rough. And both her and I both knew that it was our place to step back and relax a little bit and do the best we could, because we were dealing with 80 million different things. And to be honest, when we got paired together, I'm like, oh man, seriously, like, she doesn't know much about business. I don't have time to hold hands. And at the same time, she has been way stronger of a buddy than I have to her. And she's an absolute rock star to the whole group. And I think she's learned her internal strength. And that's kind of what happens when you mix change-based business, transformational work, and actual entrepreneurship. And it's been very cool to see just as a group. And it's been very cool to see how everybody has just grown into their own business and into their own selves. And we're a little past halfway. So I want to, Brad, since I know we've got some people that might be going in and out, I know you have an offer. So I'm going to put up on the beginning of the screen, or the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and explain what you've got going on and when. And if people, I know this is a community thing, so go ahead.
So Allison, you want to speak into Larry and his Navy SEAL team leadership? As we know our parts in this place. Brad's okay at messaging. Allison's the queen. So, I'm just going to defer to you on this. I can land it.
Yes, you can support me with telling the story of Larry, because you've talked to him more than I have.
Absolutely.
But as you know, as Anthony was mentioning, we do weekly webinar, or we do Friday webinars, sometimes every week, sometimes every other week, just depends on the schedule. And we do this as a service to the community, because and I have lived by this my whole life. The thing is, if I give you something that's a gift and it works for you, then you know that doing business together is a good idea. I want you to make good choices based on facts. So the facts are, we have amazing content. We have amazing people that love what we're up to and want to be part of it and want to share their expertise. And we're just putting it all together. So that's what the webinar is for. So on Friday, you'll have to, it's coming up on Friday. If you text the Be The Change to this number, we'll send you a link to sign up. But Larry is going to, and Brad, I'll let you speak into this a little bit, but Larry is a Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL, and he's got a lot of expertise in, building teams and things like that. And we love to bring these experts on because they allow these like open Q&A sessions. So if you want to ask an expert that you would normally have to spend thousands of dollars to get this kind of advice, like this is your chance. You've got to sign up for this because it's amazing stuff. And just like Anthony said, like he came to one, saw Candace, was like, what? Like this is free? This is better than like stuff I'm actually paying for. And that's the point. Like we want you to see the value of what we have and the people that want to be part of this. I mean, some of the people that are our speakers are also investors. So they also come in and they've got their eye on the businesses as well. But Brad, speak into a little bit the actual topic that Larry's going to talk about and a little bit about his superpowers.
Yeah, and just to be clear, when you text the number, bear with me, an alert is popping up on my screen. When you text the number, be sure to text only the words #BeTheChange. Nothing else, and that way we'll be able to follow up with the link to the webinar that's coming up. So Larry is a Navy SEAL team leader, and his specialty is mastering team leadership. And I've had the pleasure of talking with both him and Anne, who's his spouse, for a couple times. And the way I've been able to translate it is this, well, one, in the Navy SEALs, when responsibility is delegated out, or in any type of special forces, if things go wrong, people die. So how do we learn to run a team from a place where we can delegate responsibly without ruining the mission, without greatly damaging the business? Like, how do you give that responsibility? Because we cannot do it all ourselves. Picture your mission. Picture your org chart. How do we get bottlenecked up at the top, right? We all do it. We all try to control a lot. So how do we learn to actually delegate in a way that allows them autonomy, that allows the strength, allow them to run, and still being able to check in with each other? So Larry had such success in his Navy SEAL teams, and then Anna's had such success in entrepreneurship. Like my last conversation with her was like, it took me 12 years, but I finally got it. I'm trying to do too much at the top and I'm not delegating responsibly. So how do we bridge in this training with the special forces into business, teams, and entrepreneurship so that we can all focus on what matters most and actually have a lot more success what's there? So I hope that supports in the translation with having no special forces training whatsoever, not even Eagle Scouts, not even any of that. But like such a blessing, and what they train into is like results, numbers, team, autonomy, coming in with step-by-step methodology so that people can walk away with real-world value and actually create the relationships, and they're a ton of fun that's there. So they have the results that they have in their world and have mindsets of impact and change. Like Allison said, people normally charge a lot of money for this. This is our gift to the world once COVID hit. We're like, what can we do? We have the entrepreneurship. We have no shortage of great content and people that care. Let's start putting on a webinar series with real world people with real world results that is working. And I think everyone that comes on is running multiple successful companies in a time of hardship, and they're doing it, but that's our gift to the world. So once again, if you text that number of 617-765-1053 with just the words #BeTheChange, we'd love to give you the access to that webinar. And it's interactive.
Yep.
It's not done by PowerPoint.
You'll actually get,
we like to engage. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, you'll actually get, and then I think from that point forward, you guys do them every couple of weeks. For a lot of our viewers, probably know who Lauren Saloon is. So I never know how to pronounce her name. Saloon, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
I'm so bad at pronouncing the last names, but yeah, you got it right.
But she's, you guys have seen her. A lot of you guys have seen her on Concert Vengers. She actually, we're part of the PR Accelerator that she does. So I'm with the Business Accelerator, Breakthrough Accelerator with Allison and Brad. But Lauren was actually, she gave a hour and 20 minute or hour and 15 minute Rockstar Friday webinar that had more information on how to start a YouTube page. And that's not even her number one specialty, which is the crazy part. So she was actually on there. That's how Lauren and I met. And that's how you've seen her on some of our shows for the people that regularly watch us. So they do provide a ton of amazing content. Also, just a reminder, anything that you guys see on this, between Truth Will Set You Free, this, Concert Vengers, etc., any of the shows we bring on, you can also find it on our, what is it called? Podcast. So just go ahead and go to #BeTheChange, and you'll see up at the top, you'll be able to go to the top of the page and you will be able to click on podcasts. And that is where you'll find all of our previous podcasts. And this one will be up in a couple of days. With that said, guys, we've got just a couple more minutes. So I would love, if anybody has any questions, I'll see if they pop up. Anybody have any questions about change-based business, etc. With that said, while we're waiting on those questions for people to have, go ahead and say kind of your final thought about why it is important that, or why it's beneficial. Let's look at that. Why is it beneficial for us to have for a business to have a positive or change-based aspect to it?
Well, I love data, so I'll kind of start with the data. If you look at studies, I mean, studies are done that say like businesses that that have more diversity, that are focused on focusing out. I mean, there's a lot of conversation right now about raising the minimum wage, and a lot of the answer to that is, well, if you give people what they deserve and make their lives a little easier, they'll work harder, right? There's like concepts around all this, and we see this time and time again over time in history. And so that's why it's so important. And like you were saying before, Anthony, it's not just about like how does an excavator, like how does somebody like that change the world? Well, let me tell you, because what if we just simply started by treating our employees differently? What if instead of like punishing everyone for having a sick day, we rewarded them and giving them wellness days? I mean, just little shifts in the way we say words, right? Like, oh, I don't want to have a sick day. Like that's going to be a penalty. But what if it's a wellness day and I get to go have fun with my family and my boss supports me? Like it's all of these little things that we can do that are going to change our business. It's going to change our bottom line. It's going to change the happiness of our employees, of our team, and then the money we make. Everyone all becomes more abundant together. It helps the economy. I mean, it's just like a ripple effect. It just goes and goes and goes. And it's, business is not just about making money. When I started my first business, I remember my whole family was like, well, you're rich and you have all the time in the world now because you have a business. I'm like, no, those are the two things I lost first. And I'm still working on that, right? Like time and money are the first things that go out the door. And you don't do it for that, right? You do it because you have a purpose and it means something. And that's really why most entrepreneurs start a business. So for those of you who are on here that are entrepreneurs, I'm probably like, singing your song right now, because that's how it is. It's like, I started a business because I wanted to help other businesses, right? I did this because it's fun to help people. And as a result, we all get to share in the abundance, but that's not the point. The point is helping people. And so that's why with business, it's so important to be focused on the change that you can make, the change that you want to represent in the world, and, be the change with your own business. And others will see that. They'll come along. They'll want the same of what you have. They'll want that happiness, that abundance, that freedom. And it just creates, this is the only way we change the way things are, is to do it differently. And what a great way to start is to focus out and be in service to the rest of the world with what we're doing with our business. Like, be the example. And so that's where we start.
Yeah, and I'll give Brad a chance too. So Kelly said something interesting. People don't know how to be happy. And honestly, that's a huge that's a really powerful statement, especially in business, is people don't know how to be happy. So if you can't be happy, how can you start a change-based or positivity-based business? And I think that's a lot of the reason why you guys typically, when you bring people in, want them to have either gone through a transformational course or at least know a little bit about that world. And you, some of the people in this first group, we have Next Level, which is the class that I took, that there's a lot of trauma that we all have in our lives. Period. And in order for us to, and we're never complete, but in order for us to actually be able to properly start a business and execute a business where we can create positive change, you really have to be happy or learn to get to that place. And I think that's incredibly important. That's a great way you guys go about doing the business. Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to speak into that. So in one of my conversations with Larry, diving into deep SEAL team leadership, talking about how much trauma is faced with people who are in the world of war, right? What they see, I can't even begin to fathom or understand. He goes, what do you think the first thing is that their team goes after when it's a high level executive team in business? When they're working with the companies who are like, the 8, 9, then the 10 digits, the first thing that he goes after is all trauma in the CEO. And I was like floored by it. I'm like, you're kidding me. He goes, no. He goes, I can see it and sense it, because if the CEO is still holding on to X amounts of trauma, like we're very emotional, sensitive creatures, and we'll always have some, never perfect. But if that's not removed, then the business can only go so high, right? It can only really go as high as the human nature. So he says that he goes right after any trauma of the CEO first to start removing that, so that can be cleansed, so that the relationship with himself and then with the others is really opened up from that level. Like there's a lot of trust there. So it's interesting that you just spoke into that, which is the traumas that we have, the people that we speak in. Whoever said that, it was Kelly, people don't know how to be happy. They'll be like, well, go be responsible, go be rich, go be happy. And in my experience, not a lot of people show us the playbook how. Or I have this playbook, but it's just a playbook, and that's not how we learn. So how can I throw myself into the arena, right? Into the arena to get dirty, to fail, to pick myself up, and not be a spectator in the stands. Like, that's not my life. Like, no way. Get in the arena, get dirty, and it's tough and it's rough, but learn how to be happy. Like, that's the gifts of these leadership academies. That's the gift of emotional intelligence. Like, they work those emotional muscles. And in the Breakthrough Accelerator, it's 2 words, right? We're coming in to accelerate the company, and we're coming in to break through the CEO and the team and swarm an ecosystem of success and joy. Because what Allison spoke to, it's like, why do people have to have limited sick days? Total BS in my world. Like, people should have 365 days off if it needs for it. Now, it can't all be paid, but I did have unlimited time off in my prior companies. Like, if you got to take a Wednesday off to go see the doctor, or Friday off to be with your kids, or a few days off to go camping, we can cover each other. I know that Allison wants to be in Colorado, and that's where the joy is with her family. Like, I'm going to be on my A+++ game so that she can go do that, because she's done it for me when I've traveled. And we're here to absorb and let's support each other in times of crisis. But I'm just a firm believer in freedom. And that gets to happen in business with impact. And you want to have a lot of fun and be more happier, do it with people who actually care. Mm-hmm. And you can walk side by side with them, because as Allison knows, and we talk about it a lot, and Anthony, you know, entrepreneurship, it's tough. You will cry. You will stare at the ceiling multiple times a year. You will wonder what's going on, and you will question everything consistently. This isn't a pipe dream. We just believe in freedom and impact. Yeah. And this is our way of the world.
You know what's cool about the cool part about COVID in the last year, and I know we're about to wrap up, is in terms of the 365 sick days if you need it, we also realized that there is no true purpose for an office. Yes. There really isn't. So it's like, I mean, if you want to be in Colorado, or if you need a couple days off, and here's the other thing, and this is something that I've always believed in: if you love your business, you don't want the day off. So it's almost like you're itching to get back. So if you have to take care of family business, we learned in COVID, and if you're a boss or if you're a owner of a business, you can give your staff freedom to go do what they have to take care of, and know that they're going to be able to bring their phone, bring their laptop, whatever it is, and work remotely for 3 hours to get what you need done. And I think we've also learned that if you get rid of the Facebooks and you get rid of all the different things and the distractions, 2 hours or 2.5 hours of real work is 8 hours at a regular job, sitting at your desk, playing around with the mouse. So we've learned there's been some positives definitely in the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, my superpower in the business world is really running highly efficient, effective lifestyles and companies, and finding that balance. I mean, I went remote for my companies for 12 years in different states, running it for different states, while being ranked in the top 200 in sales and consistently in the top productivity by employee. So I have the track record. And when people ask me the first thing, well, what's your number one thing? My first question would be, do you have nap rooms? You can't run humans dry. You can't run us. You can't run us to the ground and expect us to be sharp. I love breaking at least once every 25 minutes or 5 or 10 minutes to get up from sitting down. And Allison runs at a different pace. It's just our personality quadrants, but man, we're just here to do something different.
Yeah,
that's just my belief.
So I know we're just about out of time, but I want to say, I know Chris, it sounds like that you are working on a medical cannabis dispensary. If you're on, I think you're in the early steps, make sure you text that number and come to one of the courses that they've got going on. I'm going to go ahead and put it back up there real quick. So text that, and then you can join in on. And again, they're each week when they do them, they're all different. So you'll get a lot out of it, and you might get a chance to actually meet with Allison and Brad, and they'll definitely be able to better help you out with that. Yep. Brad, I know you're about to say something. Go ahead, and then we'll wrap it up.
I was just laughing with Chris's question, because Allison is a powerhouse marketing expert. So Chris, hit up Allison, and
I'd love to help.
Positive change.
Yeah.
I
fully support.
So I don't want to give it away. Yeah.
Well,
Robert spoke into.
Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing. And Robert, you're saying Facebook is the worst drug in the world, or people talk about technology, or people talk about money, and this is just my belief: is nothing is really bad or good. One, you get to own it. Either technology owns you or you own it. I'm really good at owning businesses. I'm really good at owning communication. I'm really good at owning inflows. I'm really good at owning my time. I work hard, but I can have the flexibility. But nothing is really bad. Money, technology, I don't even like guns, views. Whose hands is it in? Whose hands is it in? Because
100%.
If you give knowledge, there's a huge difference between the Dalai Lama and Hitler. There's our two different platforms, right? So, two big different things there. But it's
but the Dalai Lama's on Facebook, so
I think he's got a whole team. Dalai Lama's got his whole Facebook team.
He's great. He's really great.
So I want to let you guys have the last word. I want to remind you guys. I don't know if we're doing a Change Makers next week. We are taking a little bit of time. We're probably not doing a Concert Avengers this week either. But on March 3rd, for those of you that are Bob Berg fans, the Go Giver, he will be on Change Makers. He's our next guest, next set guest. So make sure you guys set your calendars, and we'll have that up as well. So big fan of Bob Berg and the Go Giver. So we will have him on. And I think that will be a daytime show. That's when his availability was. So stay tuned for that. With that said, I'll let you guys each have a final word. Allison, go ahead.
Sure. So, I love all the, I'm having fun kind of watching the chat here. I could probably stay on for another hour. So I would love to continue these conversations. So find us on Facebook. We have a group, just look for Breakthrough Accelerator. You'll find us, and follow us and join our group. And I would love to keep these conversations going, because this is what this is all about. It's all about community. And even with, like the cannabis business, we kind of joke around, like if someone gets in there and is like, hey, I've got a question about something. First of all, totally safe space. Jump in there. Hey, I want to start a business in this industry. Who do you know? I have people reach out to me all the time for all sorts of random things. And it's like, we're all here to connect with each other. So, a great way to get into our ecosystem is join our group. And we would love to keep these conversations going. Come in and see our webinars and stuff, because again, whatever stage of business you're at, tons of great content. And we even have a YouTube channel of all of our old content as well, so you can watch the replays. But we would love to connect with businesses that are making a change in the world. I mean, that's what we're here for. And we wouldn't be in business without those businesses that want to make a difference. So if you want to make a difference and you want a team that's going to stand behind you and help you get the things out of the way that are standing in the way of your success, we would love to talk to you. So please just find us, reach out to us. You can schedule a time. If you go to our website, you can schedule a time to talk to us, and we'd love to meet you. So thank you for the time, Anthony, to just be here and meet all these new people.
No problem. Thank you, Allison. Brad, go for it.
Yeah, well, Anthony, first I just going to choose to acknowledge you for literally living your work, living your hashtag, to, watch you be in the accelerator for, 3-4 months now. You're going through your own adversities, your own challenges, and just to go through it and see what you stand for, and to be that level of entrepreneurship that consistently just drive to make a change. Yeah, it's just been a pleasure to watch you and be there. My motto that comes up for me the most in the accelerator, who's on your bus? And making that decision on who is on your bus in business, in life, dating, partnership, how much, it's everything. And who do you get to align with? And when you find the alignment of the people who have what you want, especially in business and entrepreneurship, and you get clear in your core views and you align with those, magical things start to happen. You do get to do massive, and the universe starts conspiring in your favor to a massive degree. And it's just been a pleasure to actually create something from scratch where we're ready to give the gift to you with entrepreneurship. So if you're serious about your business and you're serious about making the change, and you got the team and you want to drop into the right ecosystem, even if we're not a fit for each other at this time, we can make the puzzle fit. There's plenty of value to go around. I'm complete.
Absolutely. I know, Brad, you're a little over on your time that you were able to spend with us, but I want to thank both of you guys. And again, we always have great people on this show, and the whole purpose, the thing is, we've had such a wide variety of different people in our first 18 episodes. The last show, we had Cash, obviously, 2 episodes ago before he had to go away. We had Denzel, who I know a lot of you guys friended. I know now he's got a girlfriend, Denzel. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, but he's got cerebral palsy and is the most motivational speaker you have ever heard when he gets going and gets in the flow. And it's amazing the wide range of people we've had, from people that are famous to people that are just creating change on a level that's creating these ripples going out. And just like you guys, in a couple of years, you're going to look back, and I know you've already created a bunch of change, but just in Breakthrough Accelerator alone, you're going to look back at the companies that have been a part of your first class and your second class and your third class, and they are going to be successful, and they're going to be changing the world all at the same time. And I thank you guys for that, and I thank you guys for letting me be a part of it. So with that said, thank you. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Everyone out there, if you're in Texas like me, stay warm. Hopefully your power stays on. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andy.